Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Tiana and I am currently documenting my fertility journey. Today, I'm sure you can tell by the title, we are going to talk about sex after myomectomy. This is actually the second time I'm filming this video because your girl is awkward AF. All right, so first things first, I do have my notes here because I tend to get off track and start babbling or whatever, but I want to make this video very short and sweet because it doesn't need to be long and drawn out. Unless you guys have questions later, definitely leave them in the comments below and I'll go ahead and answer them for you. Same kind of sequence as my last video. I want to go through kind of how sex or intercourse was before my myomectomy and then get into what's going on after my myomectomy. Short disclaimer, mom, grandma, anyone that doesn't want to hear this, I'll give you 5, 4, 3. Okay, first let's just talk about sex before myomectomy. Like I've said before, I had like 2 large fibroids on the back of my uterus. So if this is my uterus, I had like a big one and then the other one was kind of attached to this one. And so it was weighing my uterus down and dipping into my pelvic area. So even when I would walk, I think I started to like later on, like closer to the time I got my surgery, I was like accommodating this fibroid and even walking with my hips like wider. So I definitely had my fibroids in like an awkward position, which then made sex awkward and uncomfortable. So before myomectomy, a lot of positions were just very uncomfortable and sometimes very painful. And so we were constantly having to like move around and adjust because I would be so uncomfortable. If I had my legs up on top or doing anything kind of fancy, like it was very uncomfortable and I didn't like it. So I was either distracted just thinking about being in pain or knowing that I'm going to be in pain, and it just was very unenjoyable. So that was kind of sex before myomectomy, especially getting closer to the time I needed to have my surgery because my fibroid was growing. Now that I've had my myomectomy, when I got my surgery, for those of you that don't know, I did have my surgery in September of 2020. My doctor did advise that we needed to wait at least 6 weeks. We made it about 5 weeks and like a couple days. We almost made it to 6, but not quite. And that was fine. Like I felt like uterus wise, I was okay. I know in some of my previous videos, I have mentioned that my stomach is actually still very sore. My lower stomach is very sore, but it feels like, I don't know if this is what it feels like, but you know how they say like when people are pregnant, their abs separate and then they have to like work on them to get them back together. I feel like that's what's wrong with me. I don't know what kind of opening up they did of my stomach, but my like lower stomach just is so tender to the touch still. So I've been doing different like crunches and sit-up workouts and stuff like that to kind of strengthen those muscles because I think that's what's wrong with me. I don't feel like it's internal and like uterus pains. I think it's just the outside of my stomach that's just very, very sore. So going into that 5-week mark, like I felt okay to go ahead and try. I can say that I almost had a mini panic attack. Like I was so nervous. So as I mentioned in my last video, I didn't even wear tampons for the first 2 cycles after my myomectomy. So at this point, at the 5-week mark, I was like, nothing's going in there. I can't wear tampons, so why would I do that? But then, it's been 5 weeks, so we just went ahead and tried it. But I was like super duper nervous, like getting clammy and not in a good way kind of nervous, like panic attack nervous. So we went and did the deed, and I cannot say that it was enjoyable, especially not the first couple of times, because honestly, the first couple of times, guys, you're going to be so distracted. Like you would think like, ooh, it's been 5-6 weeks. Like we're going to want it. It's going to be so great. It's going to be fireworks. No, your mind is somewhere else. You're like, is it going to hurt if I do this? What if I move this way? If it's like, you're going to be distracted. And so that's exactly how it was our first time. Like I just tried everything we wanted, like for just the basics, and my mind the whole time was like, oh God, it's going to hurt if I do this. is it gonna hurt? Is it gonna hurt? Is it gonna hurt? Is it gonna hurt? So I was very, very distracted the first couple times. But I would like to report that it did not hurt. We definitely took it easy the first couple times, didn't do anything wild and crazy, but it didn't hurt. So that is a good thing. I cannot rave enough about this myomectomy surgery. Again, you want to make sure you vet your doctors and you have really good surgeons. But mine was great, and my surgery, like, no complications, everything was fine, and it doesn't hurt to have sex for me. One thing I do also want to share though is, even though it doesn't hurt like inside, I do, because my stomach is still so sore and I do get sharp pains in my incision area, I do try to guard that area even when we're like having sex. Like, I will hold sometimes my lower stomach a little bit, or just kind of like push up on my incision, just because it feels like, and that maybe not in the moment, but definitely after, but it feels like if you're just like ripping scar tissue, like if you have scar tissue on your incision and you're like rubbing it, it feels like it's ripping. And it doesn't feel like it's ripping in the moment, because after the first couple times and you're all distracted, like, is this gonna hurt? Is it gonna hurt? You get over that. And then it's just like, you don't think about it. And after, you're just kind of like, oh wow, my stomach is kind of burning a little bit, or my incision kind of itches. It's like, I think that you're like ripping scar tissue a little bit, like if you don't kind of hold it close. I don't know if that's how it's gonna be for everybody, but I was glued shut. I wasn't like sewed, and so I'm pretty sure I have scar tissue there. So I try to hold my incision when I can, if it's comfortable enough. That way it doesn't like tug too much, because yeah, that shit burns, or like, not burns bad, but like itches afterwards when I don't hold it. And then not for a long time, but I definitely try to like guard my incision and my stomach still with like my life, at least until it's not sore and I don't even notice it anymore. In my case, I feel like it's taking longer for me to heal than normal people. Like I said, it's not like my insides feel weird. It's just the outside. And I think it's because not only did we start like having sex at 5-ish weeks, I also started working out a little bit sooner than I was supposed to. And I was like going ham, because my stomach had swollen up so big and I was so tired of looking at it, that I just started doing a bunch of like leg lifts, bicycles, sit-ups. Like, I was doing a lot of stomach exercises, and that probably was not the smartest thing to do. So now I'm paying for it. But I am very just like guarded when it comes to my stomach, even when it's, that time. Well, that's it for today's video. If you guys have any questions, please go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. Also, if you just want to share something with me, go ahead and leave that below too. Like, let me not be the only person putting all my business out in the streets. Like, I want to hear how you guys are doing. How was your surgery? Did you guys have sex before 6 weeks? Let me know, so I don't feel like I'm only on one side of this conversation. We can be conversing back and forth, you know what I'm saying? All right, guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye.